Welcome home, neighbors.
Welcome home, neighbors.
Hello, neighbors.
We're listening from
Arizona,
Florida,
Maryland,
New York,
New Jersey,
Minneapolis,
California, Utah,
Michigan.
Iowa,
Massachusetts,
Georgia,
Canada,
Our home resort is
Animal Kingdom,
Polynesia,
Bay Lake Town,
Old Key West,
Riviera,
Boardwalk,
Alani Resort,
Hilton Head,
Boulder Ridge, Copper Creek,
Grand Floridian,
Saratoga Springs,
Beach Club.
and Wilderness Lodge.
And you're listening to
and you're listening
You're
You're
listening
listening
to my
And welcome everyone to my DVC Points Community Hall. My name is Mary Ann, and I'm your host tonight for game night. We're going to play a little bit of Who Do You Want to Bring Home to Your Mama with our friends date, marry, or dump. All about Moonlight Magic tonight. But first, before we get started, we need to thank our friends at the DVC rental store. They are our sponsors tonight. Did you need some extra points for a stay? Did you do it, Marianne, and use all of your points for 2 years and 1 stay? And then you get the urge to go because Moonlight Magic has been announced and you want to go? Of course you do. So, since that's the case, call my friends at the DVC rental store. They can hook you up with some extra points. Hey, did you find that you just need to stay home a year? If you got some extra points kicking around that you're just not going to use, call my friends at the DVC rental store. They're going to help you out by renting out those points for you and getting you the best bang for your buck. So thanks a lot, DVC rental store, and everybody at World of DVC for sponsoring our show tonight. And let's get on with the game. Where are my boys? Where are they? There's Pete.
I'm here.
There's Caleb. And it's going to be a throwdown tonight about Moonlight Magic. Now, wait a second. Have any of you been to a Moonlight Magic? Or are you just playing based on wanting to be at Moonlight Magic? Because we all are realists that know that it's one of the hottest tickets out there. And sometimes they announce it and you're not even close to going to the parks. And if you don't live locally, you're not going to be, you maybe can't go. Or if you're local, it's one of the hottest tickets out there. And sometimes it's a hard one to get. So the question is, have you been there for Moonlight Magic? Pete, have you ever been to one?
I've been to 2. I went to the original Moonlight Magic at Magic Kingdom. I want to say it was back in 2017 or something like that. The first time they announced it was only 2 nights at Magic Kingdom, and that first year, and we just happened to be there for it. I remember it was in February, and one of the princess, I don't know if it was the half marathon or something, was the next day, because as we were leaving at 2 a.m, they were like setting everything up for the races. And I was like, I'd way rather be going to bed at 2 a.m. than getting up at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was I went to that one in Magic Kingdom. And then this year we ended up being, I'm going to say, lucky enough to go to Typhoon Lagoon. I only say that because it rained. And it rained a lot when we were there. Didn't really stop us too much. I guess the good thing about rain is if you're in your bathing suit and you're in a pool, you're already wet. So, but it was a pretty cruddy night, but we still had fun. So those are the 2 times I've been to. I have not been to the other 3 theme parks with Moonlight Magic yet.
Yes, but you've heard a lot about it, so you still have lots of opinions.
I do, yes.
So, we all have opinions.
We all have opinions, don't we? See, all of you in the in the community, if you haven't been, you'll have opinions too. Yeah. Hey, Mr. Allison, have you ever been?
Yeah. So actually, let's see. My first Moonlight Magic was Animal Kingdom in, I think, 2019. Is when the first time I got to go to Moonlight. That was one of the infamous, it got really cold and the iguanas were like falling out of the trees. So I got to do that one. And then I also got to experience Moonlight Magic with none other than Marianne herself at Hollywood Studios this past summer. And then I got lucky.
2 summers ago.
Was it 2 summers?
It was
Oh my
been 2
goodness.
summers ago. Yeah.
Wow. Time flies when you're
I
having fun
know.
with Marianne. So, and then I also got interesting. I did not know that Pete got to go to the original Moonlight Magic, and I got to go to like the first restart Moonlight Magic that happened at Epcot a couple years ago. So, when they brought it all back, I just happened to have a trip and I got lucky. And then so Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom are the lists that I've been able to accomplish with the Moonlight Magic.
Excellent. Well, I've been fortunate enough knowing that I usually only go on 1, maybe 2 trips a year, but I've been fortunate enough to have my trip fall either a week before or a week after Moonlight Magic, and was able to, as soon as they announced, go online because I love to stay at Saratoga Springs, right? And move where I was staying, what dates I was staying, so that we could add Moonlight Magic in. So we went prior to COVID, we went to Epcot. So prior to COVID and prior to vouchers, we went to Moonlight Magic at Epcot.
That'll be interesting to compare our
It's a
experience.
very interesting comparison. And then we had the opportunity in the summer of 21 to be able to go to Hollywood Studios Moonlight Magic after vouchers were introduced. So I've been to one at Epcot and one at Hollywood Studios. Now we know that since COVID, they have not had a Moonlight Magic at Magic Kingdom. But that doesn't stop us from talking about it and wanting one, right? So we're going to go ahead and talk about it like it's gonna happen because we are manifesting ourselves a Moonlight Magic
This year, come on.
at Magic Kingdom. If we don't talk about it,
Let
it'll
it be
never
in
happen
March,
again.
the trip I don't have tickets to the parks in. Let it be.
Right. We're gonna manifest our way in instead of saying, "Oh, bummer, it's never gonna happen again." Nope, we're gonna talk about it like it is gonna happen. We are not going to have included in our game tonight any properties other than the 4 major parks at Disney World because none of us have been to any of the California Moonlight Magics. So it would be very difficult for us to have it as a part of our game. And because if we had added in the 5th to add in Typhoon Lagoon, which would be really fun, I'd have to come up with another category, people, and I'm just not that creative. So we're gonna do it the way we're doing it. So tonight we're going to decide for each of the categories. We're going to decide if which park we're going to have be a friend or a friend with benefits, or if we're going to officially date that park, or if we're going to marry that park, or are we dumping it and putting in Magic Kingdom instead? Because, we could do because, we're manifesting ourselves back into Magic Kingdom. Or maybe if we're dumping it and adding back in Typhoon Lagoon. I don't know. To be honest, if y'all want to break the rules, y'all break the rules. I just know for a fact that it doesn't matter what I say, y'all are going to do what you're going to do.
I can't break the rules, Marianne. You know that.
Right. Rule breaker number 1 sitting down there below me. So we're going to start out with our first topic of conversation for Moonlight Magic. So, you've got these voucher things now. And Pete, do you want to explain how the voucher thing works for our friends and who may not have had a chance to do this yet?
Wow, I haven't been to one with a voucher because they didn't have them
Yeah.
at Typhoon Lagoon.
Wait, is that a
this
vote for
year.
Typhoon Lagoon, perhaps?
But all they were doing at Typhoon Lagoon is giving out, Mickey bars and different types of ice cream and everything like that. They didn't have full blown food giveaways, so it really isn't.
So, Mr. Allison, do you have any information about how this voucher thing works?
Sure. So very similar to how the dining plan worked in the past and will work in the future. You got like these pieces of paper, and there were specific places that was, I guess we'll get into that later, but where you could go and get a snack from some of these kiosks or some of the individual restaurants. So it was literally like an old school gift certificate, not digitized or anything. It was just a piece of paper, and they handed it to you and they said, don't lose it, not replaceable. And you'd be able to go and get a kind of your standard snack credit at a couple of places.
Okay. What about that fancy popcorn bucket? That
okay. Well, yeah, that was something that kind of happened post 2021, that they also gave you a popcorn bucket, and so you had a voucher for a popcorn bucket. And I believe that, if I remember right, that you could either use it for the popcorn bucket or you could use it for another snack. So if you didn't want the popcorn bucket, you didn't have to get it. Does that sound right?
That is exactly how that worked.
Okay.
Which is just garbage, in my opinion, but hey, that's all right. So but along with that, the snacks you had those for specialty snacks, but there was also always popcorn Mickey bars available, correct? Or no? Like from carts.
Yeah. So they definitely had like where you could just walk by and people were passing out Mickey bars. And depending on when you went, because each one of mine was a little bit different. I mean, like, post world shutting down, the first one since the world shut down, and then a couple months after I'd say DVC learned some things, they were all a little bit different. But yeah, you could use them to get those Mickey bars anywhere you wanted. And then I don't think popcorn was included. I don't think so. I think it was just Mickey bars. I mean, other than the popcorn bucket that came with popcorn, but it was just Mickey bars or other,
ice cream
frozen
novelties.
There's the
there
word
you go.
for it. Ice cream novelties.
Yeah.
So, which again, So let's see. Who are you going to be friends with, date, marry, and dump, Pete?
Wow. So the problem is, were the snacks really that different from park to park? Is it just normal quick service? Is that what we're talking about here?
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of. Yeah.
So I'm going to go by this. I'm going to
in a dream scenario for you, because you have not had. Right.
I'm going to probably dump Hollywood Studios because I'm not particularly impressed with their snack selection. I would probably stay friends with Animal Kingdom because there's a couple of good options there, but I know Africa is closed, which is my favorite place to snack. So I'm not sure that it would have as much as I would like. And I think I'm going to, what we said, we said dump, friends, date. I'll date Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
And I'll marry Epcot if I'm really getting some decent snacks in there. And I'm assuming this isn't like, Food and Wine snacks, but I'm assuming some of the snacks around World Showcase are available. So
you would think, right? You would think.
Yeah. So that's
Caleb, what's the
mine.
experience of Epcot telling you what is your order going to be?
Okay, so Pete, you can use those vouchers at food booths.
Ooh.
So you'd
Then I'm
be able
definitely
to
marrying Epcot.
use, yeah, except it has to be a Disney owned food booth, and which is
Oh.
very, very, very confusing, because you go up to Mexico and you're like, hey, I want to go to this food booth that's right by the Mexico pavilion, and next thing you know, they're like, no, they don't have green shirts on, and you're like, wait, it's dark, I can't tell what color shirt you are from 20 feet away while I'm standing in this line. So, and when the park officially closes, the food booths close, and so it was a hot mess. Now, again, I went to the very first one and I heard that they kind of cleaned it up and kind of gave a list instead of just a generalized go find it. But I would say that from Mexico all the way until you got to Germany, there were no food booths that you could go to.
Oh.
And so
Okay.
it was very confusing. So
Was
for that
was
reason,
was the park even open past Norway?
well, but this was prior to the actual park closing. When you
Oh, okay.
first came in, the food booths were only open until 9 p.m. and you could use your vouchers then. And then after that, it was like you could use it in Norway at the bakery there, and then like in France or something like that. But it was just very confusing about what you could use and where. And for that reason alone, I'm gonna say if they keep that kind of methodology, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna just date Epcot, and I'm with you with Hollywood Studios. Gonna dump it. Gonna dump Hollywood Studios. Be just friends with Magic Kingdom. There's some good stuff there, but not so much. But I'm actually gonna marry. I'm gonna marry Animal Kingdom, and a lot of that goes back to Flame Tree Barbecue is available to you, and so you're able to get some of the snacks that are there. You also have Satuli Canteen that's available to you. That giant pretzel with the beer cheese, like I absolutely love the beer cheese sauce
Ooh.
at Magic Kingdom. So that's going to be actually the one I married. Was that the one you dumped? Well, that's good for me.
I did dump it. So yeah.
I mean, I'm always been the rebound man. So there you go.
Well, to be honest, I went to Moonlight Magic prior to 2020 at Epcot. And if I had my way, we would go back to that. I really didn't mind the sunshine seasons being open and having hot dogs and soda and chips, and it was open all evening, and you could either do it or you didn't have to. And then all around the park there was popcorn, soda, and Mickey bars and other ice cream novelties available from carts, and there were very few lines, and it was walk up, grab what you wanted, keep on moving. So instead of having a more of a variety, I guess, of snacks, which you get with the vouchers, I don't mind giving up that variety to have more options, I guess is my thought, and it being simpler. And I swear I heard about the lines at Epcot.
Yeah.
For people who waited to come into Moonlight Magic till the end of till the park was basically closing and going back to Norway and spending their entire Moonlight Magic in line at the Kringla Bakery and them running out of snacks.
Yeah. That is, at
Ooh,
least for
on
that
that.
first picture, that first party back, that's an accurate picture.
And between that and then just, I mean, even if they've improved that, the fact that we know that at 9:00 they close all the food booths except for a couple at Epcot, and it's just not a lot of good options again. So I guess I don't know. I can't believe I'm going to be friends with it because I can't dump it. I can't dump it because at least there are options. I can't dump it. I am going to marry Magic Kingdom because when Magic Kingdom was still having Moonlight Magic, it was the old school way of having Moonlight Magic. So I'm going to marry the dream of what it would be like. I think I will just date my Hollywood Studios. Again, my family are plain snackers. We do pretzel bites and num num cookies are just fine with us. You know, we don't need fancy snacks. We aren't those people. So, and a popcorn bucket and using ours for refills while we're jumping on ride after ride after ride is probably more of our style anyway than worrying about the snacks. So Hollywood Studios is the one I'm going to date, which means I'm going to dump Animal Kingdom because again, we are plain people. We do not eat all that stuff. And I don't care what y'all say about Flame Tree Barbecue. This Kansas City girl is telling you that barbecue stinks. There is nothing good about Flame Tree Barbecue.
It
Quit
used to be
going
really,
there.
really good, but it's not as good as it used to be.
I've been there a couple of different times and I have yet to have anything that didn't taste like dried out beef jerky with sauce on it. So people. So I guess that's where I'm going with that. I'm dumping Animal Kingdom and I'm going to date Hollywood Studios, marry Magic Kingdom, and be friends with Epcot, I think is my plan.
So can I tell a quick story about the original dining, how it worked? So the first time they did this, they decided they weren't going to do any kind of vouchers or anything like that. And they also decided they were only going to open, I think, 2 locations in the entire Magic Kingdom that had food. So we ended up at and it was all you could eat, but it was like hot dogs, chicken fingers, whatever. We ended up at Columbia Harbor House and we were there a good 45 minutes waiting to get food. It was the longest thing we waited in all night was for the food. and it wasn't particularly good food. So they have improved. I have to say the process they have now is much, much better than what that was, because it was just all these people jammed in Columbia Harbor House. There was no it was like they didn't expect anyone to want to eat, and they're giving away free food, right?
Did they only do it? Did they only do it after the park closed?
Yeah, it was after it was well after the park closed, but it was still just total chaos, total mess.
I imagine they learned from that and they're like, hey, you can come in and eat your food beforehand so that we don't get all that. Yeah.
Well, and ultimately, I guess then that goes back to the thing is, what do we really want as snack options at Moonlight Magic? As a member, what would be? I mean, do you really want vouchers with fancy options, or would you rather have it like an after hours party where they have carts everywhere with free Mickey bars, free popcorn, and free soda?
I mean, me personally, I do it exactly like you just said, that I don't need to wait for my 2-ounce filet mignon from the France Pavilion or anything like that. I'd rather just walk and go. You give me a pop, give me a water, give me a Mickey bar, and then I'm on my way, going to the next rare character, the next, event that's kind of, unique. That's where I would go.
What about you, Pete? What do you think?
I think so too. And again, when I rated them, I assumed that I wasn't going to be able to go to the food booths at Epcot. I assumed it was more standard cart fare. But I just thought their standard cart fare is a little more interesting than some of the others. So yeah, I agree. Keep it simple is fine. Definitely hope you feed me. I do have to say, I don't know if the other parks did it. Typhoon Lagoon had like a bar and they had specialty drinks just for the party that you had to pay for them. But there was a number of things that were unique to the party.
Very interesting.
That you didn't get at the regular time, which I thought was kind of neat.
Huh. Well, the Piano Man went to that same Moonlight Magic at Typhoon Lagoon with Pete, and it was
Yeah.
fun. And our first time at a water park. Oh my. And rain was too much for us though, and we ended up leaving early. I think I would have if it's free, I think I would have bailed too, to be
Yeah,
very honest.
we weren't there the whole 3 hours. We were there about 2 hours of the 3 hours. Or maybe is it only 3 hours? I don't remember exactly.
It's
I think
about 3.
Yeah. So, but early on it was pouring and lightning around, and I was like surprised
you
they
can't
weren't
do
even
anything.
closing it down. Well, they had everything open. I don't know, but yeah, we just kind of ended up doing. We did a couple of slides, but we mostly did the wave pool and lazy river, and yeah, after a while it was just enough of the rain and we left. So I don't think anybody stayed. Well, maybe somebody did. It was getting pretty empty by the time we left, and there was still an hour left.
Wow. That's crazy.
But it was free, so like
Right. It was free. And that's ultimately the thing is that you have to look at it and go, it was membership included.
right. Yeah.
And it was included in our direct member prices, which our direct member prices are pretty pricey there. So
It was, but I didn't buy DVC to get Moonlight Magic.
exactly.
It's a
No.
bonus. So to me, anything like that, it's like, yeah, that was, I bought this to get this. I expect a discount. I'm sorry, but I expect an annual pass discount. Disney, but I mean, they're back again. But I still, those are things that to me as a member, you should have. You should have a discount on your merchandise, a discount on some of your dining, those type of things. I know they're not guaranteed, but I expect those. Moonlight Magic, that's one of those things this is a bonus. If I'm there at the right time and I get to go to it, total bonus.
Absolutely. But we all should still have in our brains that none of the perks are free, because they really aren't free. You've paid for them somehow, some way.
Yes,
You've
you're
paid
right.
for them at
Yes.
some point. So,
Yep.
all right. Best ride advantage. So 3 hours after everybody else has left, except 20,000 of your favorite DVC people. We don't really know the numbers of people that they include at Moonlight Magic, but my experience has been, it has been for me and whoever was on my reservation, or me and 5 other people?
If you don't have a
Yeah.
park reservation, well, no, this is my understanding. It's you and however many you can have in your room. So if you have a 2-bedroom and there's only 2 of you in the 2-bedroom for some reason, you could still reserve 8 spots.
Okay.
That's what I've been told. I don't know if it's true, but so it's up to the number of people that are in your room. Or if you're not staying on property, then you're right, Marianne. It is yourself and 5 others.
Which is, in my opinion, extremely generous numbers for off property and for locals. I mean, knowing that, usually the family of 4 is what everybody bases everything on. So the fact that they have accounted for bigger families in that one is a positive, I think. So
For sure. Yep.
So we don't really know the numbers, and it always seems to sell out pretty darn fast. But I don't know. It's never felt empty to me.
I'd say it feels light. It feels light.
Yes. So would you say that the average ride time that you've waited, the average ride, let's say it's for a hot ticket ride, what kind of wait times would you guys estimate have been your wait?
So if I just did it kind of like probably the best way to explain it, at least from my perspective, would be like you rope dropped, and that second or third ride, whatever the wait times are, like across the park, that's probably what you're going to see at a Moonlight Magic. That so you go to that first ride and it's basically walk on, which that's not happening at Moonlight Magic. But once you get out of that ride and you kind of see what the wait times are across the park, that's pretty much where it stays at the Moonlight Magic. And then, of course, just like any other park day, at the very, very end, you can like loop on stuff and there's nobody there. Like when we did Animal Kingdom, we did Expedition Everest probably 3 times in a row, just because, I mean, we had to get off and get back in line, but it was literally just as fast as you could walk through the queue, you got onto the ride. And, at that point it was too long to walk to any other attraction. So it was like, let's just keep doing this.
Okay.
Yeah. My experience at Magic Kingdom was the top rides we're still going to have a wait. And when I say the top rides, I'm talking about, Mine Train, Peter Pan, Space Mountain had a little bit of a wait, but most things at Magic Kingdom were 10 minutes or less for pretty much everything. Very, very much walk-ons. I mean, there's a lot of rides there. But when we did it, everything was very short. Some of the character meets were longer, because that's what people were there to see, were these rare character meets. But the rides generally, as I said, we actually did that where, you wait till the very end and then get in line. And we did that for Mine Train at the time. And it was about a 30-minute wait. Now this was, again, we're talking about 5-6 years ago when the ride was even newer. But so it's not quite as popular now, but it's still pretty darn popular. But that's what we did for that ride. Everything else was pretty much 5-10 minute wait. We didn't do I don't think we did Peter Pan because it was still 30 minutes or something like it. Still, it wasn't bad, but it was more than I was going to waste when we only had like 4 hours. So
yes, that makes lots of sense. So my experience at Hollywood Studios is that the line for rides was still way too long for only having a little bit of time. So we didn't do it. The ride wait for Slinky Dog was still way longer than I wanted to wait for that, for only having 3 hours from 9 to midnight. And so, to be honest, at Hollywood Studios, we didn't ride very much because it just didn't feel like we were getting that big of an advantage. Now, we're exhausted. It was near the end of our trip, so we did not hike down to Sunset Boulevard, where I believe Caleb's family had a lot more success riding Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster that night. But the things that, were up front that we were doing were, we just didn't ride a lot of rides that night. Epcot, prior to Guardians of the Galaxy and prior to Ratatouille, so because we were there in 2018, the longest wait that was there that night was Test Track, and it was 60 minutes because everyone had waited all day to ride Test Track because it had rained earlier in the day. So, of course, everybody that was coming from Moonlight Magic who might have been in the park hadn't had a chance to ride it. So everyone was in line for Test Track. And so we were able to back on Soarin', which to us was, we didn't even wander back to Norway to ride on Frozen Ever After because we didn't have any children with us. It was just Tom and I. So we did Soarin', and we did a bunch of the little piddly rides up front that we enjoy. But if we would go to a Moonlight Magic now, I think that we would have had better success because there's more to ride at Epcot now than there was prior to COVID. So, so which parks how are you gonna rank these parks for your ride advantage times? What are you thinking there, Pete?
I think I got mine in my head. and maybe this isn't fair, but I'm going to actually dump Epcot. And the reason for that is that I can go to extended hours at Epcot every time I visit and go there for 2 hours. My family does not like Guardians of the Galaxy, so we don't sweat that one. But in those 2 hours, in our experience, you can usually get on, Test Track and Frozen Ever After and Ratatouille in those 2 hours. Yeah, I don't get a free snack, but good enough. And the rest of the rides I can pretty much ride regularly at Epcot. So I think that's the one I'm going to dump. I'm just going to be friends with Animal Kingdom because honestly, there's really just one thing that interests me there for Moonlight Magic, and that would be the Pandora, right? Flights of Passage. So that would be worth it to me. I would probably also ride Everest, but the safari is closed usually for Moonlight Magic, correct? I could care less about Dinosaur, even with it closing. So that really leaves those two things. Tough to be a bug. I don't know. So that really leads a Navi River journey. Okay, maybe if the wait is now 5 minutes in the Moonlight Magic.
And you're hiking between.
So yeah, I'm gonna go over to Everest, ride it a couple times, and then I'm gonna go over to Flight of Passage. I'm gonna stay there the rest of the night. So I'm just friends with that. I think
And you're really gonna pick that over Epcot?
Yeah, okay. Because I can do Epcot every week. I can do it every Monday.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut.
Why why buy the cow when you get the
So you're going to be friends with benefits with good old Animal Kingdom then. That's what you're saying.
And then I'm going to date Hollywood Studios because I think this year they didn't even have. Did they have Rise open for it? I thought this year they maybe didn't even they didn't even have.
Yeah. I believe they had Rise open.
Did they have it this
but
year?
It was a virtual queue.
Okay. So I'm going to date it because, there's a couple of good things there, but as you said, Marianne, lines are still going to be long. I'm going to get annoyed a little bit. So so just dating, just casual. And then I got to marry Magic Kingdom because the options there are fantastic. You now got Tron, which I'm sure they would have a virtual queue for if they brought that back. You could get in 3 hours, you could probably get 6-7 solid rides, top end rides in.
What about the Wednesday night advantage though? Because you can go there every Wednesday night if you're staying at a hotel.
It is, but it's not always there because like a lot of the fall now they're not doing it, so it's not there every week of the year because of the parties. And I feel like I need more than 2 hours there, whereas Epcot in 2 hours I can hit those highlights. We're talking just rides, right? If I'm just going for the rides, I can get in 2 hours at Epcot. Magic Kingdom, I need that extra hour to get in everything I want to do. So, yep, that's the one I'll marry.
Excellent.
So, Caleb, up to you.
All right. So, man, we got a lot of the same reasonings, but just like a little bit different order.
Yeah.
So, I am going to be just friends with Epcot. I'm going to be just friends with Epcot because, like you said, I get to do that because I'm staying at a DVC resorts on Monday nights. Also, Epcot just doesn't have a lot of rides. I mean, and when you are riding those rides, because this is what happens at those extended evening hours, you're walking and hoofing it so many different places that even with the extended evening hours, it's just not that advantageous because you're using so much of your energy just walking. But I do really love Guardians of the Galaxy, so I've got to have it. I've got to have it around. Dating, I'm going to be dating Magic Kingdom. And again, it's for the same reason that I just said, that I get extended evening hours and I'm going to be able to hit up a bunch of those things. Magic Kingdom is also the one that we rope drop the most. And so I haven't done a Moonlight Magic. So if I was doing a Moonlight Magic, it just really rides wouldn't it just wouldn't be on my radar very much. So I think that I would be just not that into trying to get the rides, but it does have a huge advantage, and so that's why I definitely would be dating. And then marrying is I'm going to have Animal Not Kingdom. I'm going to be going to Hollywood Studios to marry Hollywood Studios. It has, the biggest thrill rides that always have the most, the high wait times, and it's not too far spread out that I can hit several of the different rides. And that means I have to dump Animal Kingdom because if I could marry just a land, it's going to be Pandora for Moonlight Magic, because especially now in the summer, they don't even light it up. The park closes so early now that I don't even get to see it lit up. And so being at Moonlight Magic and Animal Kingdom, all I'd want to do is stay in Pandora, but the rest of it, I just want to throw away. And so I'm definitely dumping Animal Kingdom.
Interesting. So my thoughts are I am going to be friends with Hollywood Studios. I'm not going to dump it, but I'm not sure that for ride advantage, I'm going to spend my time there. I am probably going to date Epcot because, again, I probably won't hike all the way back to Ratatouille. But between starting right at 9 o'clock at Frozen and then spending the rest of the evening in Future World, I can hit a lot in a small amount of time. If you have to add in Ratatouille, that kills your schedule because of all the hiking. But if you start right at 9 o'clock back in already all the way back in Frozen, it isn't so bad to do Frozen and then pop up back through. So I am going to date Epcot. I am going to dump like the biggest hot potato dump Animal Kingdom. I mean, for crying out loud, I appreciate that they want to have it there because Flight of Passage is such a popular ride, but literally there are 4 rides in the park. There is no ride advantage.
Yeah.
Because once everybody figures out there are only 4 rides in the park, everyone's going to be at Flight of Passage and everybody's going to be at Everest. It's going to be one or the other. And so you're not going to get that big advantage because everybody's going to be in line for one of those 2 rides. Besides the fact that hoofing it in the dark, hilly area between those 2 rides totally eliminates ride advantage because you're going to have to be walking slowly and carefully because of the uneven ground in Animal Kingdom. So I guess then I am going to marry Magic Kingdom because that is my dream, is a Moonlight Magic, just riding rides all night long with my kids, in a low crowd environment. We love Magic Kingdom after dark. We love riding rides after dark at Magic Kingdom. There's just nothing better. So, and then our last category is special entertainment. So we're not going to preface it at all. Special entertainment can be rare characters, special dance parties, those kinds of things. Which parks do you think have the very best kind of stuff like that? Pete, from your experience, what did they have at Magic Kingdom?
So at the time, after I say this, should I just go right into my ratings?
Yes, but
Okay.
Tell us what they had, because
So at the time they had several rare characters. I remember they had Rapunzel out. They had it might have even been Rapunzel and Flynn. They had Darkwing Duck and a couple other rare Disney like the 90s Disney cartoon characters that you don't see very often. I think Launchpad might have been there. And there were a couple others besides that. So they had some rare characters. But the big thing to me was they had fireworks, and the fireworks show they had was something I've never seen before or since. I don't know where they pulled it from. I heard that that it's like they'll sometimes do it for like special events, but it was like a truly unique fireworks show, and it legit went for like 15 minutes. It wasn't like it was like pop done. and that was really, really cool. Seeing a, a show that was just for Moonlight Magic. So that was the biggest thing. They did have the dance party in Tomorrowland as well. Those are cute, fine, whatever. I'm not gonna get me that excited. So I appreciate the evening entertainment, that's for sure. So because of that, I'm again going to marry Magic Kingdom. Sorry, going to put a ring on that. If they continue to do special things like that, I'm also I think, Marianne, you were the one that said it, Magic Kingdom, nighttime. I loved, again, we got in line for Mine Train right at the end of Moonlight Magic, and we were in line for like 35-40 minutes, and by the time we got off, the park was empty. And so they were like basically shoving us out of the park, but we were a group of like, I don't know, 7-8 people. And I love seeing that park when it's empty, because you never see it. So that's my number one. Special entertainment, I think usually I'm gonna date Hollywood Studios, because I think they usually do an extra Fantasmic, don't they?
They have in the past.
Yeah.
They didn't this last time,
They
but
didn't
they
this
have in the
last time.
past.
They didn't this last time. Okay. Well,
Fantasmic wasn't even open, I think.
No.
Oh,
wasn't.
right.
But they did have fireworks.
Yeah. So I'm gonna date that one. I also think they usually get some good characters as well there. I'm just gonna be friends with Epcot. I the nighttime show now, you don't know what you're gonna get. So we got to see what comes next, right? So I'm just gonna be friends, and then I admit it, I got to dump Animal Kingdom, and quite honestly, on the last one, I agreed to be friends with with Animal Kingdom, because I felt a little bad because I dumped them on the other 2 times. So, but I'm definitely dumping Animal Kingdom. Yeah, they have some decent character meets. You're gonna see Miko, maybe Tarzan and Jane, which is a cool one. So they're if you like your unique character meets, maybe you're going to put that one a little higher, but for me, I'm dumping that one. So, Caleb, what about you?
Was Magic Kingdom 3 for 3 for the Mary for you, Pete?
I think for me, yeah.
Yeah. Now you definitely got to put a ring on that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. So let's see. Oh, so I am going to go right into who I'm dumping. And this is a very, very biased thing because of it being the first one since they brought it back. And I am dumping Epcot because there was little to no nighttime entertainment. In fact, I believe that when I was there was zero. There was a couple of rare characters, like Oogie Boogie was there. But as far as anything else other than a rare character, they had a couple villains, Queen of Hearts. Nighttime entertainment was nothing. And then I believe the second one that happened like 2 weeks after it, they had this special DVC thing that was going to happen out on the lagoon. And it, like, everybody was expecting it to be like fireworks or something. And all it was the tacos lit up that said like welcome home or something, some garbage like that. So I got to dump. It was so lame. I'm glad I wasn't there for it.
Next time you go to your hotel and they say welcome home to you, Caleb, I want you to say, don't give me that garbage.
Well, I remember seeing people, and it was listed on their little brochure or whatever, a special DVC nighttime entertainment or something. And like, if it just said like, special message, fine.
Yeah.
But you listed it as entertainment and just says welcome home. No, thank you. But I'll secretly remember that in my head.
Entertained.
Yes. Are you not entertained? So got to dump Epcot. Definitely. I did appreciate the villain characters, but the lines were really, really long, and we didn't even, other than Oogie Boogie, I got a selfie, and then that was it. So then that brings me to Just Friends. I think that I'm going to be just friends with Animal Kingdom. If you look over this shoulder right here, you might see the silhouette of Baloo. That is my favorite character in all of Disney animation is Baloo, and I try to kind of live my life as Baloo with the bare necessities. So, being able to go there and actually give him a big old hug, and just like I was like a little child all over again. So it holds a special place in my heart. But other than that, there's not a lot there. So then that leaves me with dating and marrying. So I'm going to be dating Hollywood Studios. I did appreciate their little dance party that they had, and during the dance party, they had lots of the characters from like Ducktales that were there. Darkwing Duck and Scrooge McDuck was there. I can't remember if it was. I think it was only basically the you know Donald spinoffs that were there, but I really did appreciate that. And I appreciated that they had kind of their little fireworks show that happened just for us. And so then that brings me to Magic Kingdom. At first, I thought, I mean, you changed my mind, Pete. If there's going to be in this, thing that we're projecting into the universe, that it's going to come back and it's going to be something that like it was, I want to see that special fireworks show. So I'm going to have to marry that.
So I'm dumping
Well,
Animal
you could have
Kingdom.
just dated it until you see the quality of the fireworks show, right? That's what dating's for.
No, this is arranged marriage here.
Oh, geez. I'm dumping Animal Kingdom. I'm sorry. There's just not enough there for me to make it worth in all of the things I've heard. There's just not enough. So I am going to be friends with Epcot. We really enjoyed the trip that we were there was pre-COVID, pre lots of these characters being in the park. Edna Mode met for the first time at the Moonlight Magic we were at. Granted, the line was super long, but that was really cool that was an opportunity there at that one. They also had at the Fountain of Nations a huge dance party, and Goofy and Mickey and all kinds of characters were out there dancing. Chip and Dale were out there dancing with the kids. So that was a really neat, Tom and I were adults. We weren't going to be out there doing that, but enjoyed watching that and seeing, all of that happening. And because it was in that big outdoor space, it didn't feel crowded and like you were on top of each other. The kids were able to really have a good time. I am going to date, or did I say date already? No, because Epcot is friends. I'm going to date very seriously Magic Kingdom because I do want to see that fireworks show too. I agree. I want that kind of experience as a DVC member just once. I was fortunate enough to be at a Christmas party where they had special seating for DVC members. And that was really neat. And just that they had that special seating area and they had special Mickey bar cart in that seating area for us. We didn't even have to leave it to get treats. And, I know they do those special holiday fireworks shows well. So I can't even imagine how great a special secret, only use it for very special occasions fireworks show would be. So that would be very cool. So I'm definitely going to date that one very seriously, like going steady kind of dating. But I am going to marry Hollywood Studios because my girl, she loves herself some Powerline. And that dance party at Hollywood Studios was the Powerline dance party.
That's right. I
And
forgot.
Max was meeting and Powerline was meeting, and that was the theme of it. That was the music they used. A lot of it was. And then to have all of the DuckTales characters come out and be a part of it just made it even more fun. So for us, that was great. The fact that they did do a small little tiny like poof fireworks, that was pretty much it. But poof. And the other thing I have to say I really appreciated, they had that dance party in the Disney Junior Disney Playhouse Junior show space.
Air conditioned.
Air conditioned.
Yeah.
Mm.
And, if you're going to be out there dancing with Max and Darkwing Duck, it is much better to do in the air conditioning. And because it was inside, I don't think a lot of people, it didn't like draw everybody's attention, is when you walk by a big dance party outside and
Right.
everybody kind of goes to it. So, like, I think and Caleb's kids were there with Katie. I think you would say that like there was times when it was just us.
Yeah. I would say max there was 20 to 30 people, like max. And then they would clear out and we would still be there.
Yeah.
And so it's
And
just
so it
like
was
8 of us.
great because then we got all of these characters stopped with each of our kids and took pictures. And the characters actually danced with your kids because, again, it wasn't packed with people. It was air conditioned so the characters could stay out a little longer because they were more comfortable. And it was just a much better setup for something like that. So I'm going to marry Hollywood Studios, if for no other reason, Powerline. So there we go. If you were picking your very favorite Moonlight Magic, they're only going to do it at one park ever again. What park are you going to pick?
Well, I guess I would either want it. I never ranked it real high, but I either would want Hollywood Studios or Magic Kingdom, I think would be the two.
Okay.
I'd have a hard time picking one or over the other.
Do I get to pick like a pie in the sky one?
Yeah, pie in
or
the sky.
not?
Yeah, you
So
bet.
can we have a Moonlight Magic at Disneyland?
Yeah.
Sure.
Or are
I
we
mean, I
just
know
going
they
to
have
stick?
it like at California Adventure.
Right. I don't think it's, as far as I know, it's never been done at Disneyland.
It has
So,
not, it has
but-
not been done at
Yeah,
Disneyland.
as if I ever got really pie in the sky, it'd be that. But if we were talking realistic of what has happened in the past, I'm gonna say, man, those fireworks that Pete's talking about in Magic Kingdom, that I'm gonna want that. It's also the only one I haven't checked off my list as far as the Florida parks go. So I mean, that's the one I'm gonna choose is Magic Kingdom.
I think that would be my choice too. I think Magic Kingdom would be my choice too. It's the OG Florida park. It's the one, so that's the one I would like to be able to do this at. So
Yeah.
Disney, we're manifesting, we're telling you something here.
Bring it back.
Bring it back. Bring it back. So
Even if I can't go to it.
Pete and Caleb, thank you so much for joining me tonight. And friends in the community, thanks so much for hanging out and listening to us jabber away about our Moonlight Magic experiences and what we liked and what we didn't like. I hope everybody had a really great time. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you like, share, subscribe, mark the bell, all those things. And if you're watching us on Facebook, hey, I'm so glad you're here. Remember the My DVC Points community. Let's keep chatting about Moonlight Magic. Maybe the more we chat, maybe there's secret Disney people in our community that work for Disney. Let's keep chatting about Moonlight Magic at Magic Kingdom and how cool that would be. Yep. Let's manifest it into our world, people. So again,
let's keep it going everywhere, though. I mean,
yes,
and I'd love to see, quite honestly, like if Magic Kingdom would be number one for a change, bring that one back. But can we please, even if we can't have Disneyland, at least do maybe 2 out in California instead? Yes. I mean, they do 1 a year in California.
That's rough.
You got a lot more rooms to sell out there this coming year. Let's get 2. Let's get them 2.
They didn't have a lounge for a long time, and now they've knocked it out of the park with a lounge.
Yep.
So maybe they'll knock it out of the park with Moonlight Magic this upcoming year in 2024 out there in California. Because again, you're right. It isn't fair to the West Coast friends that go to those parks pretty exclusively because it's their home parks. It isn't fair that it's only once a year because, that limited number of tickets can only go for so many people.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot more members going to be out there now with the new Disneyland Tower because, Grand California was very, very small. There weren't a ton of members. So that's probably part of the reason they didn't have as many benefits out there. But now you're going to quadruple the number of members out there.
Yeah.
Let's hook
So
them up.
here's one before we go. One last question.
Mhm.
To do Moonlight Magic, you have to have what is called membership extras. You have to be
Mhm.
eligible for membership extras, which means you've bought at least 150 of your points directly from Disney.
Currently, if you don't have it, yep.
Currently, I mean, some of us were grandfathered in at much lower prices, which are much lower points amounts. But would it be worth it today? Is this something you should consider when purchasing your membership? Is Moonlight Magic a perk that's worth the price of direct membership?
Alone, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree that, I mean, with there being other parties that you can just pay for and go
Yeah.
to for, 150, I mean, even the more expensive one, $200 a person, just Moonlight Magic doesn't stand on its own to say this is why you should buy DVC.
I agree. And,
Yeah, and
the other thing about it is, I think now that they are offering extra hours for deluxe guests at a few of these parks, at least once a week or twice a week, absolutely there is. I mean, it's a great perk. Don't get us wrong. It is a wonderful experience if you are fortunate enough to go. But is it worth paying extra money? I don't think so. I don't think it's worth paying. A lot of people get FOMO when those dates get announced and everybody's out there trying to get their tickets.
well, and again, I went to it was actually the second one, but there were two the first year.
Right.
Since then I've only been to one more, which was this year, Typhoon Lagoon, because they just don't happen that often, and you can't. I mean, if you can, I suppose, plan your vacations around Moonlight Magic, great. But like for most people, if you do not live in Florida, you don't really have that often access to this. I mean, Marianne, you've been twice. Caleb, you said 3 times, right?
I got very lucky.
Right. And you got to get lucky. So I would, it's definitely not something I would be like, I got to have direct benefits for this. There's other benefits that I can see the arguments for. This is not one of them.
Nope. So don't let yourself get swept up into the hype. I guess this is one of those things that I think the hype is often huge, and everybody gets so excited, on the internet about Moonlight Magic and oh my gosh, and Moonlight Magic and oh my gosh. You can buy your Mickey bars and stay for after hours, people. Seriously. It's kind of like the lounge at Epcot. Chad says, I'll never drink enough soda to equal out my price of direct membership. I don't know, though. I might, but he says I never will. So
I've gotten more use out of that lounge than I've gotten out of Moonlight Magic. So
amen. Right?
I was going to say, I probably saved more money on merch discount and food discounts than I have.
Oh, for sure.
Versus Moonlight Magic.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a nice perk, and thanks Disney for providing it, DVC for having those parties for people. We do enjoy it, but it is not something to hang your hat on about.
Yeah, again,
when you're
solely as it's a nice, this is extra. It's very cool. If that's the reason you're buying DVC, no.
So, hey guys, thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate it. We had a great time tonight, and thanks to our community, and we'll see you next week to be honest, I don't know. It's Halloween, almost Halloween. It'll be a mystery show.
Ooh, spooky.
So, good night, everybody. See you real soon. Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye.